Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United 0, Watford 0, and basically top four is gone unless we get some sort of miraculous collapse from Arsenal. It's not in our hands. And you know, before we get into the go into the actual game itself, of course, one of the big things that we need to talk about here is that we don't deserve to finish in the top four. I think there is this privilege around Manchester United that should exist, of course, but we don't deserve top four this year. We've been generally shit. And I'm sure Ralph Rangnick's going to come out after the game and say, how did we draw this game? How did we draw this game? We've had so many chances. I don't understand. But you're saying it too many times, Ralph. It's happening too many times. Middlesbrough, Burnley, now again. There's been other times. We are just a bad football side. And when the defence play well, the attack let us down. And when the attack aren't getting any service, the defence let us down. There's a running theme through that football club, and I keep saying it. This is a mess. You can't run a football club for 9 years the way that they've run that football club and expect us not to be here. The decisions they've been making over the last 3 years are coming home to roost big style. There are still people in our fan base that think we're a Fabinho away from winning a title. There are still people in the fan base thinking that if we get Ten Hag or Poch, we'll be fine next year. The club is in a mess. Rangnick is a good coach. You can see the structure of that team. I've seen it over numerous weeks. I think Villa away we played really well. I thought the first half today we played really well. But the problem is the personnel is just not right. The mix of players is not right. And we are not anywhere near Arsenal at the moment. Forget Man City, forget Chelsea, forget Liverpool. We're nowhere near good enough. Teams are not scared of us. They shouldn't be scared of us. And we're not good enough. And we're going to talk about the terrible individual performances today, of which Ronaldo has to take criticism. Bruno, Pogba, there's some big personalities who really let us down today. But remember, this is a collective season problem. And, you know, the thing that made me laugh the most is that I was doing the watch along and somebody said, ha, sit down, Goldbridge, Maguire didn't play and look what happens. And I'm like, yeah, look what happens. We play a high line, we keep a clean sheet, our defence play really well, and we create loads of chances in the penalty box. The problem is, we miss them. You know, that was one of our better performances of the season. We did something that I've been criticising for 2 years. We created a load of penalty box chances and we missed them all. So I actually think that is our best defence. I think Lindelof and Varane and Matic is our best three. I think McTominay's a problem. We saw that today. Matic ran that midfield. Links in the video description for your player ratings. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. I wish Matic was 28. He ran that midfield. And Varane and Lindelof work and look very comfortable together. They never look nervous. Full-backs, I still think we've got issues there. And obviously, the attack was just ridiculous. But look, I'm a big fan of Bruno Fernandes. I really love Bruno Fernandes. And of course, Ronaldo will get the biggest criticism because it's Ronaldo. But if you know football and you saw those chances, I'm telling you now, if you think Ronaldo's the problem, what the fucking hell is Bruno then? Because at the end of the day, he's missed 2 absolute sitters. Ronaldo had one really good chance where he hit the post. The rest of them, one hits him in the groin, a couple of headers. But those chances by Bruno, I don't care whether we're playing Watford, Man City, the dog and duck. You can't miss chances like that. He's one-on-one. Was it the first 10 minutes or the first 20 minutes? He gets 2 golden opportunities. And also, remember, Ronaldo put it on his head. I think he's got to get that on target. But that one-on-one with Ben Foster, people are saying it's a good save, and it's always a good save when you're in a one-on-one. He's one-on-one, and he's got time, and he hits the keeper's body. He's got to score. The crossing, was it Pogba or Telles? He's just got to direct it. The power's in the cross. Directs it wide. He's got to score those chances. And now, you know, Bruno gets goals and he gets assists, but he's got to score those chances. Ronaldo's got to score his chance. I'm going to talk about Ronaldo in a minute. I'm not giving Ronaldo a free pass. He's got to do better today. But you know what? Actually, we keep making these same mistakes. People want to make it about individual players. I'm going to stand up about this. Are you an idiot? Are you an idiot? Or are you a Manchester United fan? Are you going to be an idiot or are you going to be a Manchester United fan? Are you going to put this on an individual player or are you going to put this on the people who run the fucking football club and have put us in this position? We are not good enough. We do not deserve top 4. We're not getting top 4 because we didn't score against Watford. We're not getting top 4 because we are not good enough. This club has been put in this position over the last 3 years by the owners and by the board. We're not good enough. We should be competing with Chelsea and Man City and Liverpool, and we are not, because we are not good enough. Open your eyes, wake up, smell that coffee and realise we don't deserve top 4. Yes, we played well in the first half. Yes, we should have scored goals. But the reality is, we're looking at that first half and we're criticising Ronaldo and we're criticising Bruno and we're criticising somebody else. But for the vast majority of this season, we have not played like that. We are not a team that is not top 4 because we've missed loads of chances. We are a team that's not getting top 4 because we've mainly been crap. And that is on the players, that is on the coaches, that is on the board. But who's in charge? This club has been allowed to rot from the top to the bottom over the last 3 to 9 years. And now it's coming home to roost. And I keep saying this. I said it at the start of January. I don't think we'll get top 4. And people said, you don't know what you're on about. We'll be absolutely fine. And here we are at the end of February and we are looking like we are not going to get top 4 because I saw it coming. And many of you saw it coming as well. We are run badly and the bad mistakes that we've made are not reversible. They're not going to change on one CDM or one manager. We are in trouble. We are heading down the mountain, not up the mountain. And some people seem to think that we're on our way back. We're not. We're on the way down. The next 18 months terrify me. I don't think we've hit the bottom yet. I think we've got further to fall. Thursday night football, it might not even be Europa League. It might begin with E, but it might be the conference. You know, it could get worse than what it is. We're talking about racing for 4th. We might be racing for 6th, 7th or 8th. That's how bad we are at the moment. Remove your head from your arse and see where we are as a football club. We are a joke. And yes, I know how football works. I know. We've seen it with Maguire. We've seen it with Rashford. We'll see it with Ronaldo and Bruno tonight. Players will be individually blamed. But the players don't pick themselves. And the bigger problem at United is that on a 38-game season, you finish where you deserve to finish. And at the moment, we are where we deserve to be, which is not even favourites to be 4th. We're a shambles and the club is run like a shambles and it's going to get worse in my opinion until people start calling out what the real problem is at that football club. And it's the prats at the top who appoint the board, who don't know what they're doing, who keep making bad decision after bad decision. And Pochettino's going to be another one. They're obsessed with Pochettino. I wake up this morning and Kane wants to reunite himself with Pochettino at United. How many fucking trophies did Poch and Kane win in their prime? And we want to take them both when they're on the decline. Oh, great idea. It's a joke. The club's a joke. All they're interested in. And they'll be crying tonight. They'll be absolutely crying. You know what? Man United's admin's going to be going through his drafts going, well, that's a waste of time. That's a waste of time. Delete, delete, delete. I had everything ready. I had loads lined up. Nothing now. Wasted. But look, you know, that's the bigger problem. And I think the bigger problem at United is something that people don't want to talk about because they'd rather just go in on individual players and pretend that the reason we're not winning the league is because Bruno missed a one-on-one or we're not getting top 4 because Ronaldo hit the post. You know, that's how stupid and naive some of our fans are. We're going to get worse. We're playing Man City next week. We'll probably win. We'll probably beat Man City next week, by the way. That's the genius of Manchester United. But we don't play like a team, says Kevin. I disagree. Look, let's digest this game. Let's do it in a proper way. Player ratings, link in the video description. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. So let's digest this game in a proper way. I'm very angry. I'm sure many of you are. I'm very angry. But I'm not shocked. I didn't think we were going to get top 4 and I still don't think we're going to get top 4. But in relation to that game, what really angers me the most is, and I feared it in the first 10 minutes, was that team is probably the right team to pick. I think that's probably our best team apart from Sancho needs to be in it. Maybe Shaw at left back, maybe Delo at right back. But effectively, the way we defended was Matic ran the midfield, Lindelof was almost alongside him and Varane just stood on the halfway line. And we pressed the life out of them because Matic knows how to push a team forward And Lindelof and Varane are not scared of the ball over the top. You take Lindelof out for Maguire, he's shitting himself about the ball over the top, so we automatically drop 10 metres. You take Matic out for McTominay, you've got a guy who doesn't know how to be a CDM. And suddenly, the high line and the fluidity disappears. And we did play with a high line. And Watford did sod all in the first half. They were, David De Gea wasn't even there. He put a sign up saying back in 5 minutes. He'd gone for a big crap with a newspaper. He had nothing to do. Watford were non-existent in the first half. It was about how many goals we should have scored. 45 minutes, it was like we were arguing about whether we should have been 2, 3 or 4-0 up. And we're 0-0. And that's when we're going to come on to the attack. But don't ignore the fact that the defence played really well. Really, really well. And Matic was probably man of the match. So that's the thing that pisses me off, is that we come out of that with a bad result and Rangnick will make changes. He'll probably bring Maguire and McTominay back in. But actually, Lindelof and Matic were superb in a performance where really they've been robbed of praise because somebody didn't put the ball in the back of the net. If we'd won that game 2-0, we'd be going, we need to keep this team for Man City. The way we played defensively and pushed up was brilliant. So I do want to dwell on that for a moment because I thought Lindelof and Matic and Varane gave us the platform in the first half. And it was a question of how many goals we should have scored. And yes, Ronaldo should have scored. I mean, somebody said it deflected onto the post. It didn't look like it did to me. He should have scored. Bruno's got to score that one-on-one. He's got to score the cross. And I think he should score the header as well. So, there's 4 big chances there. And then into the second half, I mean, the one that Pogba gets up and it hits Ronaldo in the chest, maybe that should be scored. There was the cross from Sancho that Rashford let go. I don't know why he didn't hit it. It's right into... I have to see it again, but it's right... It's a brilliant pass by Sancho. It's right across the penalty box. Rashford's running onto it dead centre and it's like, just pick your spot, and he leaves it. Does he get a shout? I don't understand it. Alanga had a couple of chances as well. Somebody's got to take some responsibility there and score the goal. And the reality is, for most of this season, we've been sat here doing the match reaction saying, it's a graveyard shift for the attackers. Bruno's not getting the ball enough. Cavani, Ronaldo, they're not getting enough chances. And then the defence has let us down and we've been beat 4-0 or whatever like that. Today was a rarity because we're actually saying the defence and the holding midfielder were brilliant and the attack has let us down. And that, to me, that's the story of United's season. This is not why we're not getting top 4 today. That's a rarity for United to be in a position where we defend superbly well and we create loads of chances and we don't score. Most of the time this season, we've not created chances and we've defended badly, which is just bloody typical of United. When we finally get it right defensively, we fuck up as an attack. It's so frustrating. And of course, one of the big frustrations is that there's no wiggle room. There was no wiggle room after Southampton draw. We had to go and win as many games as possible. And we know we've got to go to the Etihad. We know we've got to go to Emirates. We know we've got to go to Anfield. We know we've got Chelsea and Chelsea and Spurs to come to Old Trafford. That's 5 of our last 11 games, which are difficult. The 3 nailed on games where you go, well, that's 9 points, was today, Norwich at home and Brentford at home. And somehow, when there's no wiggle room, we've gone and dropped 2 points. We couldn't do that today. So basically what we've done today is by dropping, and I call it a loss even though it's a point, but it's beyond a dross. It's not a draw. It's not between a draw and a loss. For me, that's a loss today. You cannot drop those points today against the relegation side at home. It's abysmal. What we've done now is we need Arsenal to start dropping points, which is still possible. But I think we've put ourselves in a position where we've got to beat Arsenal at the Emirates, or we've got to beat Liverpool at Anfield, or we've got to beat City at the Etihad. That's what we've got to do now. One of those games we've got to win. We may need to win one of them and draw one of them. But we cannot afford to lose 2 and draw 1. We cannot. We've got to get a win out of one of them. We've got to take 4 points out of those 9 to get back in a top 4 race for me. And really, the one we've got to win is at the Emirates. Geordie says, we actually played well today. Backline better without Maguire. Matic brought a technical presence to the midfield. Abundance of chances. Ronaldo was involved in every positive offence move, which he never gets praised for, says Geordie. I do want to talk about Ronaldo before we do the player ratings, because I think Ronaldo is a big topic and I understand that. What did I think about Ronaldo's performance today? I mean, the easiest thing for me today to say about Ronaldo is that he's shit. And everybody would go, oh, Goldbridge has finally turned around and he's realised. But I actually thought his general play was decent. I thought he should have scored that first chance. He should have done. The play did break up with him a lot, but also I don't think he was as bad as people think, but he's got to score. He's got to score. In a game like that, he's got to score. And as a striker, I've got to put the responsibility on him. I know he didn't miss the majority of the easy chances, and I'd say the same with Bruno, but as a striker in a game like that, you're kicking yourself. If you've played football or watched football a lot, in that type of a game, he's got to score. The opportunities were there, and he had a bad day at the office. His link-up play was good. His energy was good, but he's got to score in a game like that. There's no hiding away from it. He's got to score in a game like that. Where I would draw the line is where people will use today's result, today's Ronaldo performance to say this is what we've always been saying he's done. Because I would agree with what Geordie said. To me, that performance today is not comparable to all the other shit performances we've had. It was completely different. That's why I'm so frustrated. As I said, the defence played high. Matic ran the midfield. We played well defensively and we created chances offensively. That's not what United have done this season. So that's the frustration for me there, is that, yes, Ronaldo wasn't good enough. Yes, Bruno was shocking, but it's not like that. You can't take Ronaldo's performance today and then go, I told you, I've been saying for ages Ronaldo's the problem. Because today's poor performance was not similar to anything else. So you will get people who go, look at me, I was right, Ronaldo's shit, this, that and the other. But that performance today is not reflective of his other performances. It's not reflective of Bruno's other performances either. If you've got a problem with Bruno, he's not been missing 3 sitters a game. So it's just massively frustrating. Yes, Bruno and Ronaldo were very, very, very poor today. But the frustrating thing is that's not been United's problem this season. Missing chances has not been our problem. It's been creating chances and being poor defensively. And today we created a lot of chances and we were very good defensively. And that's the frustration. We actually got it right. And I feel sorry for Rangnick. I really feel sorry for Rangnick, because as a coach, that must kill you. Must absolutely kill you to know that you've won that game. You've won that game, but you've only got 1 point. We should have won the game. There's no, you think about Burnley. Don't think we deserve to win. Southampton, we didn't deserve to win. Brighton, I don't think we deserve to win. I thought Brighton were better than us, but today we should have won, and we've drawn. Do you realise top 4 is done? Says Go. Mate, don't act all sanctimonious with me. Go back to the Sunday night show in early January and see what I said. No one agreed with me. I said, we're not getting top 4. And I was told, no, you're wrong. You don't need to tell me. I don't think we're getting top 4. We go again, FC, says Bona, and feel like Pogba should have been subbed instead of Matic, but then our attack sucks. Rohit, I think he kept Pogba on because he wanted a goal, but Pogba was gone. Last 20 minutes, he was gone. He's obviously still adjusting to playing 90 minutes. But look, I do want to say this as well. Some people, it frustrates me. I'm very frustrated, right? You've got all sorts of football fans. You've got fair weather fans. You've got deep fans. You've got fans who analyse. You've got fans who can't be arsed with that sort of stuff. You've got people who just want to blame people. I think Maguire should have been dropped, and I think we were proven why today. 100%. Lindelof and Varane are our best centre-back pairing. That's a big positive. We didn't miss McTominay at all today. I thought we would do, because Matic is a better CDM than him, but he can't play 90 minutes, as we saw. So McTominay has to come back in. That's on the club. We should have bought a CDM. It pisses me off. Matic is the best CDM we've got, but he can't play. So we have to play McTominay because he's the next best one who's physical and energetic enough to play 90 minutes. That's on the board. Rangnick wanted a midfielder in January. They didn't get him one. We saw today what a big difference a CDM has. We haven't got a CDM. When we played one today, it made a massive difference to the team. So that does frustrate me. But I tell you what frustrates me as well. Another catastrophic decision by the football club. Edison Cavani. How good would Cavani have been today? I guarantee if Cavani had been available today, they'd have brought him on at half time. He probably would have kept Ronaldo on as well, but he would have brought Cavani on as well. Because we needed a goal and we needed a striker. And Rashford's not a striker. Ronaldo's the only bloody striker we've got. And if he has a bad day, what do? We haven't got Martial anymore. We haven't got Greenwood anymore for obvious reasons. Rashford's not a striker. And Cavani is never fucking fit. But this is the club for you. We begged Cavani to stay and we never looked at his bloody injury record. His injury record was abysmal when we got him. It never got better last year. And this year it's got worse. Cavani's not been available for 3 games in 6 days. 3 games in 6 days we're asking a striker to play 90 minutes. And he wasn't very good today. But there was no other option. People are screaming in the live chat, get Ronaldo off. For what? We need a bloody goal. If Luke Shaw or Wan-Bissaka actually do put a decent cross in, do you want Rashford on it, closing his eyes, or do you want Ronaldo heading it in? That's why you keep Ronaldo on. The reality is we don't have a backup striker because we're spending 200 grand a week on somebody who's never fucking fit. And again, who's that on? It's on the club. Recruitment, board, rubbish. £80 million on a player that was benched today and we never even bloody noticed it. The club, it's just a bloody mess. Everywhere you turn, that club is a mess. And people in the chat may well be saying, well, you've got to include Ronaldo in that. £500,000 a week and he's not scoring in a game like that. Well, again, who spent the money? Did we bring Ronaldo back to this club because of the reason I would have brought him back, because it's a romantic fantasy to bring him back? Or did we bring him back because we didn't want him to go to Man City? Did we buy Alexis Sanchez and make him the best ever played player in Premier League history just to get one up on Man City? Or are we actually trying to build a club? I tell you what, we're not trying to build a club. We are a fucking brand and it comes home to roost every bloody week that we don't get a good result. And I tell you what, look at the last few weeks. Look at our last few Premier League games. Since beating West Ham at home, what have we done? What have we done? We've drawn with Burnley. We've drawn with Southampton. We've beaten Brighton because they went down to 10 men. And let's not forget, Brighton are shit at the moment. We've struggled to beat a shit Leeds side, and then we've drawn against Watford. I said, and this is gonna hurt. This is gonna really hurt. I said this, and you said it as well. It's funny, everyone laughed at Ricky's comments when he clearly knows so much more about everyone and here about football. His opinions get proven time and time again, says the Dixon. Well, tell us what he said, mate, because I'd love to know. And I think we were just unlucky in this one. We played well, says Emil. We're not unlucky, Emil. You make your own luck in football. When we came back from the West Ham game, we looked at our next 5 fixtures. Remember this. We spoke about it in that gap, that international gap, whatever it was called. And we said, our fixtures in March and April are difficult. If we want top 4, we've got Burnley away, Southampton at home, Brighton at home, Leeds away, Watford at home. 3 home games, 5 winnable games against teams in the bottom half of the table. We've got to take a minimum of 13 points from them 15. Burnley away, relegation fodder. Southampton and Brighton, bottom half of the table. Leeds, relegation fodder. Watford, relegation fodder. 13 points, 3 home games. 13 points from 15 was what we needed to do. What have we taken? 1, 3, 1. We've taken 9 points from those games and we've drawn 2 at home. It's not good enough. I know it's only a 4-point swing, but effectively we've won 3 and lost 2. We've not lost any of them, have we? We've not lost any of the games. We've won 2 and we've drawn 3, but we may as well have lost 2 and won 3. It's a crap return. 9 from 15 against 3 relegation sides as well in there and 3 home games. That's not top 4 form. You could argue it's not even top 6 form. It's not bad luck, people. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not bad luck. We did play well today. We just didn't finish our chances. But consistently, over the last 5 games, we've drawn 3 games and won 2. And most of those teams are relegation teams. And we've had 3 home games as well. We should be taking 13 points and we've dropped 6. It's ridiculous. Isn't it time we gave youth a chance? Not really, Tom. I think Alanga's doing a great job, but chucking young players into that scenario is dangerous. You lot have enabled a Ronaldo cult. He's a 37-year-old man and it shows he doesn't deserve this game time and it's killing us. Says Sean. You're an idiot, Sean, in my opinion. A lot of people will agree with you, but I think you're an idiot because please tell me what you would do today when we've got no other number 9. What are you going to do, Sean? I'm all for the criticism of Ronaldo. He didn't play well today. But what are you going to do, Sean? Who is playing as number 9? Martial's playing in Spain. Greenwood's playing on his FIFA computer because he's obviously not able to play. Rashford, fuck knows, he's not a number 9 anyway, and God knows what form he's in. Cavani, he's sat on his arse with some injury again. Ronaldo's the only guy turning up, mate. He might not be performing, but he's the only one turning up. So what are you going to do? You're going to get Charlie McNeil from the youth team. What? This is my point. I completely agree that Ronaldo was not good today, but what are we going to do? The obvious answer is this, Sean. You raise a decent point to a point. We need a CDM, and we've needed one for 2 years. We are a bagel. We have got no CDM, and they've not bought one for 2 years. We now need a striker. How long is it going to take for them to sort that out? Please put your eyes where they need to be. Drawing at home to Watford, having missed 3 or 4 sitters, is very disappointing, but it can happen. I remember United under Mourinho, I think it was Bournemouth at home. We missed about 10 sitters. I remember Zlatan missing. It was very frustrating. These games do happen, but this is not a one-off. This is the last 5 games where we've dropped points, like I've said. This is the last 27 games. We have been crap all season. Is that on individual players? No, it's on the way the club is run. As I said, you've got an £80 million captain sat on the bench. Did you miss him today? Because I didn't. £80 million captain benched. Nobody even realised. The recruitment and ideas within that football club belong in the National League. It's a farce. It's an absolute farce. And it's a bigger problem than today. And it's going to sink us. Hey Mark, De Gea distribution. I'm not talking about De Gea, you fucking idiot. Mark, we will lose against City and Liverpool, draw against Spurs, and also out of Europe. I mean, Europe's the only thing that's exciting, Paul, because I think top 4, we've got a mountain to climb now. Unless Arsenal collapse. If Arsenal collapse, then maybe we can do it. How's being a Ronaldo? Okay, not reading that either. We are simply inconsistent. If you want to be childish, go and find a channel that's childish. This is about proper conversation about football. I'm not going to talk about the David De Gea Henderson cult. We've kept a clean sheet, and David De Gea could have been sunbathing in Spain, and he still have kept a clean sheet. So I don't know what you're talking about there. We're just simply inconsistent. It's not far to blame only 1 or 2 players. It's much deeper than that. It's the top of the club. The energy in that midfield is awful. Nobody wants the ball. No passing and movement, says Big Homie. And Ralph Ranick has been watching the youth recently. I think it's time to bring them in. No, I disagree, Raz. You cannot chuck youth players into this shithole of a season. Do you want to play the youth against Spurs at home in a couple of weeks and get beat 3-0 and have young players on the player ratings getting called out? Why should they get criticised? Why should their confidence be knocked because of what the rest of the players have done over this season? This goes... It's far bigger than today. This goes on Ollie for the last 3 years. It goes on Woodward for the last 9 years. It goes on the Glazers for the last 16 years. The club is infested with shit. And it goes bigger than one result. I can't believe we've got fans in our fan base who think today is the reason we're not getting top 4. Like, as I said, as a performance, just before we do the player ratings, as a performance, it wasn't bad today. The team played well up until all the bloody stupid chances we missed. But as I said, they created sod all in the first half. Absolutely sod all, Watford. Summit says, cut Ronaldo some slack. He's probably knackered after 3 games in 6 days. And thanks for the super chat from KX Gaming. Right, let's do these player ratings because, I mean, that's just going to open up more and more, isn't it? I get your frustration, 100%. I get everybody's frustration, and I know frustration gets people angry, and angry makes people be toxic. I get that, 100% understand it. I'm very frustrated as well. I understand. But for me, my frustration is constantly and consistently aimed at the way the club is run. This club should have a better manager who is full-time. This club should have better players. We waste massive amounts of money on crap players. I think what we saw in the second half was that, the first half was good, but if you don't get the goal, the team starts to lack confidence, the crowd start to get agitated, they try more and more stupid things. I mean, how many shots was Bruno doing in the second half from 30 yards and hitting Watford players? It's just desperation. They're desperate. And it came across as desperate because ultimately that team has a weak mentality, and it has had for 9 years. And it can't deal with it when a team gets a goal back against them or when they can't score. They defeat themselves. It's a huge, huge problem, and it's going to get worse. And I tell you what, I hate to say this, and I'd love to be wrong. We don't get top 4 this year, and we don't get top 4 next year, because this is not going to get fixed in this summer. You idiots, if you think we're going to turn this around next summer. Who's buying players in the summer? Who's selling players in the summer? The same prats who've been doing it for the last few years. This ain't going to get any better. We had a great opportunity a year ago where fans came together and really started to put pressure on the ownership, and then they all went away and had a fucking Zoom chat, and now it's like, well, we've sorted out the beer price at Old Trafford, everything's fine. We had a great opportunity a year ago, we threw it out the window, and that opportunity's gone now, and basically you're just going to have to sit back and put your trust in what the Glazers are going to do, which, to be honest with you, is next to nothing. This just shows you some people only see the goals and assists. This was one of our best performances, but Ronaldo and Bruno couldn't finish. There's Noah. Justine, thank you very much and welcome to the Members Club. Out of a possible 15 points against the current relegation zone, United have only got 8, says Pedro. There are a lot of people in our fan base supporting Scapegoat FC. If we continue to play like we did today, the goals will come. It's so marginal, says Geordie. And honestly, enjoyed the game today. However, I'd love to see more clinical finishes. Needed more chances up front like that in the first 4 matches, says Rafa. You know what, mate? I don't disagree. I'm just very pissed off with the fact that we've drawn. But watch us beat Man City, Spurs and Liverpool. Well, William, I think he's got to build on that defence. I know it's all opinion, but surely a youth striker belongs on the bench more than Mata, Lingard and Phil Jones, says Joseph. It's just whether you want to chuck a young player into that. Anyway, player ratings. Mark every player out of 10. David De Gea has to be a 6 for me. Had nothing to do. It's an easy 6. You can't say he played well. You can't say he played badly. Wan-Bissaka, probably give him a 6. I don't think it was a great performance, but I don't think he did anything bad. And when you think about Wan-Bissaka in recent weeks, he's been bad. I thought it was average. But yet again, defensively, he dealt with Dennis very, very well. Offensively, fucking nothing. You know, and I did see people in the chat saying Delo should play in this game because Tellez is playing like a winger. Delo should be playing like a winger down the other side, get some crosses in the box. But he didn't play like a winger because his ball delivery is not good enough. So, 6 for me for Wan-Bissaka. He did play well, but nothing defensively. Lindelof was a 7, rock solid. Again, I think Lindelof, if I was doing the chart show, which I just can't be arsed to do at the moment, he would be number 1. I thought he was very, very good against Leeds. I thought he was very good against Benfica. And I think him and Varane and Matic were the 3 big positives for me in this game. So I would give Lindelof a 7. Again, I'd give Varane a 7. Again, I think, unfortunately, these defenders play well. The team doesn't score. Fans get pissed off and their performances almost get forgotten. But I thought defensively they were brilliant. The high line, the way they played together, the way they read the game. I thought Varane and Lindelof were flawless. And I hope they play against Man City because we're going to need that mobility and reading of the game because Man City are going to keep the ball on the floor. But you probably bring Maguire back in. Tellez, I don't know. I'd give Tellez a 6. I'm happy that people did. I saw people in the chat saying Tellez played badly. I think when Shaw came on, it made you appreciate that Tellez can cross the ball better than Shaw because Shaw's crossing again was abysmal. So I don't think Tellez's performances was bad as people think because we got to see Shaw come on and his crossing was abysmal. Matic, probably man of the match for me at 7. I would give him a star. Yeah, it's a shame he can't play 90 minutes because he's the best CDM we've got. And it just shows you how desperate we are for a CDM and how criminal it is that United have not bought a CDM because we are now using Scott McTominay as our best option who just cannot do what Matic does at 30 whatever and he's nearly retired. Fred, 6 maybe a bit below. Fred was Fred. There was good bits, there was shit bits, but we needed the balance in the midfield and it did work. It worked better than having Pogba there with Bruno. I think, it worked. Maybe McTominay in that position would be better because I think McTominay's a better box-to-box. But, Bruno, I love Bruno, but you've got to give him a 3. And the reason I'm giving him a 3 is because, we've given people like Maguire a 1. We've given Rashford and Martial a 1 in previous things. And I love Bruno. He's one of my favourite players, but I can't... It's not one sitter he's missed. He's missed 2, maybe 3. He's missed the 2 biggest chances of the game, and he's got to score those, and they're really early in the game. And I'm telling you now, if we go 1-0 up, Watford have to change, and we probably win that game 2 or 3-0. He's got to score those chances. And really, the performances of Matic and Lindelof and Varane, they're on Bruno today. They had a good game, and that performance has been destroyed by the inability to put the ball in the back of the net, which is so frustrating because it's so rare that we have a good performance like that defensively and our strikers and our finishers let us down. It's not really been that. That's not been the problem this season, and typically United create a new problem today. Alanga, I think 6. I mean, we need a right winger, don't we, really? Because otherwise it's Alanga. I think he's, miles better than what Rashford's been doing out there, and probably our right winger for the rest of the season now. Let him grow. I was quite happy with a lot of what he did. Still a bit raw, but, an average performance isn't a bad thing from him. Pogba, probably a 5. I think he dropped off quite a lot in the second half. He was tired. There was a chance that came over to him that he tried to cross. I think he should have shot it. But yeah, I think Pogba was below average today, which is a shame. He just fell off. But yeah, Ronaldo for me is a 4 today, which we've agreed on. He's got to score. In a game like that, he's got to score. We've spoken about Ronaldo. He's got to score in that. I thought his build-up play was good, but he's got to find a way of scoring in a game like that. There was plenty of opportunities. He's got to score. I thought Sancho, when he came on, was relatively good. Gave the ball away a little bit, but that pass he played to Rashford was brilliant. I'd have to see that again. Luke Shaw, 5. Didn't play well when he came on. His crossing was abysmal. And the same with Rashford. I don't think he did much when he came on again. Which is a shame. I didn't expect him to do much, though. It wasn't that sort of a game. They were playing deep. And I'll give Rangnick a 6. I don't really see what Ralph Rangnick's supposed to do. You could argue he could get a 7, but you've got to be judged by the result. I'd give Rangnick a 6, an average 6. It's not his fault Bruno didn't finish. It's not his fault Ronaldo didn't score a goal. The defensive setup was good. The way we played in the first half was good. We should have won that game and we've drawn it. That's the only reason I'd mark him down. Let's see who got the player man of the match. So yeah, Matic, 53% of the vote. I'd agree with that. Smash a like on the video if Matic was your man of the match. I think he clearly was. Victor Lindelof was second place with 31% of the vote, and then obviously it spread out amongst others. But yes, I'm interested to see what they're going to say on the fan forum, because it's just one of those. I think this season we've had so many games where we could really go to town on the team and say you're a disgrace to the shirt, what you're doing, this, that and the other. And I think what's actually happened today is that we've drawn a game that we should have won. Some players in that team, especially the centre-backs and Matic, have had a fantastically good game, really. And they've been let down by their forwards, which is so massively frustrating because that's not been the problem this season. And of course now, we've given up top 4 basically. We've given up top 4 today, and to get it back, we're going to go and have to win at the Etihad or Anfield, and I just don't think we're anywhere near good enough doing that. We've played the teams that we should be beating. We're now going to play the teams that should be beating us, and we're hoping again and not believing, which is a shame. Anyway, let's see what they've got to say on the fan forum. We'll push you over there now. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. I'll speak to you all in a bit.